All right, what's up, everyone? Is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. I'm Jake Hari here to talk through this slate by myself and hopefully with some participation from you guys. These four gamers, feels like we've had a lot of them recently, and been studying a lot what other players, even like my bosses, have been doing, and yeah, it's nothing too crazy. So, how did everyone do last night? I'm sure we've got a lot of people that watch each day, and so I want to hear kind of how everyone's doing. So feel free to comment. I was down a little bit, not as much as I anticipated. After Boston 1 went off, I had 20 lineups. I had no Boston. I was on the fence of having or including them. Ended up not including them. I really was on Colorado 1 and Minnesota 1, Nashville. I actually didn't get as much Nashville as I wanted. So I really wanted to like them, but my projections and the way I was constructing lineups was not really liking them. Columbus won. They weren't terrible, if I recall, but I didn't get to watch much hockey last night. I was pretty much done once Boston 1 happened, and I actually got back a good percentage of what I put in, so I was actually pretty happy by the end of the night. It was nice to not watch and not tilt. Yeah, Columbus 1 was okay. But on a big slate like that, like 6.5 from Atkinson, 4.5 from Dubois, 3 from Panarin, that might work in a smaller slate, but not on a 10 gamer like last night. Yeah, I think Colorado won. Yeah, so Colorado won. I saw some people in the premium chat and in some other chats that I'm in. People were pretty upset with them, and then they got a full line goal right at the end. I think McKinnon and Rantanen hooked up for a goal right before that too. So they're just it's never over with them. They're crazy, man. They pulled the goalie down 3 and got one late. That helped. Yeah, I think didn't they get 2 late? Didn't McKinnon score 1 or Rantanen scored 1 late, and then they got the full line goal after that? Anyways, they're really, really tough. They're probably the scariest fade in DFS this year, just because the amount of ice time they get. They just ride them on the power play. I don't know. It's tough. So I had a bunch of Colorado 1 teams that actually were semi in contention. I had a Washington 1 team that was in contention kind of, but it didn't have Dubnyk on it. I probably should have correlated my goalies a little bit more. That was probably an oversight on a big slate like that. And I had some lineups that had some low scoring goalies that were otherwise really, really solid. They cut it to 6-3, then got a PP and went 6-4 and got another. Made 10 lineups and won 4K on FanDuel. Jeez. Nice job, Matt. Yeah, good. We do need more Matts in here. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So what tournament was that, Matt? If you don't mind me asking. 10 lineup, maybe the $4? $4? Scored 210, first time over 200 this season. I've been getting better since watching you. Awesome. Great to hear, Ricky. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting better, but I haven't been winning money lately. So I feel like good coming into the stream and like studying these CSVs of like the top players like Tom and Alex, Osmo, that's Alex. Testosterone is another big one. So there's actually been a few 4 gamers lately, and I don't know, maybe we can talk about things I see in those CSVs. It's super tedious to try to go through these CSVs and like control F and all this stuff, but I've been doing it just because I feel like it's a better way to prepare, or like a much more valuable way to prepare than just going through like the line matching stuff, especially when it's only 4 games and I'm even strength stacking. So I'm not paying too much attention to line matching. I think there are a couple that make sense for tonight's slate, or at least to at least weigh tonight. And we've got some changes. I put Nolan's article in the chat, so read that if you haven't, or read it after the show. You're going to want to keep up on news every time you are playing NHL DFS. There's always a handful of things, and I know it helps me. Nolan's article helps me just kind of wrap everything up in one. And when you're MMEing, that's really, really important. Nihas, I've been ending my nights with the desire to chug Clorox the way my month is going. Yeah, no, that's normal. I mean, don't chug Clorox, but yeah, I'm with you there in that my nights, you know, I haven't had a big hit lately, but it's coming. I feel it. I feel it. Can you verify those Chicago lines quickly? Which ones? The ones on the screen, probably. So this is what they did last game. DeBrincat, Strome, Kane, at least for the majority of the game. So I think daily face-off, someone probably, whoever updates, just saw that, and that's what I assumed as well. So I was happy and not happy that they switched it, because I would have just manually changed it on Fantasy Cruncher and maybe gotten an edge that way. I had 207 last night. Y'all give great info, but I played small. Yeah, that's all right. Play small, play within your limits, of course. First big win, Washington 2, Minnesota 1 with Dumba Carlson. Wow, that's pretty solid. Two really good lines together. You didn't overthink it, I think. Is, you know, that Minnesota second line without Koivu, they're better offensively, worse defensively, but it doesn't really matter for DFS. Daily faceoff is going off last game. Oh, what's up, Nolan? Yeah, I mean, you'd assume, right, that they would. They played, that was last night, right? Yeah, they played against Winnipeg. I'm telling you, man, these days just run together when you do this. So I'm doing shows 6 days a week, so I love it. But, man, it's tough keeping track of the days sometimes. FanDuel does a good job guessing lines. FanDuel does as good of a job guessing lines as Helen Keller does playing baseball. Yeah, pole hitter Helen was back in her day. 202 Washington 1 and Vancouver 2 on FanDuel. Did Vancouver 2 do anything? Are you talking about the Pettersson line or the Horvat line? The Horvat line kept coming up for me when I was running more than like 20 lineups, but didn't end up there. Started the game with Kane, Camp, Cahoon. Yeah, they did, but here, let me verify this. I'll bring up Natural Stat Trick. We can just do this together. We got some extra time, right? We got 45 minutes to go through 4 games. So, plus this allows some extra people to come in here as well. So this is just Natural Stat Trick. For people that don't know, this is the site that has the best data. It's the most user-friendly. They have a glossary, I know, on the homepage. So if you don't know what any of these terms mean, feel free to check it out. The only issue I have with Natural Stat Trick is that it takes a little while to load the pages when you go through the box scores, but that's just me being picky. So what I did was, first I usually go by center. So like I'd look at Tays, search by time on ice. You saw him and Saad together basically the whole time. And then you see like Perlini got some time in lieu of Hayden. Don't know what happened there. Like I said, I didn't watch the game. Cahoon got some time with Saad and Tays, it looks like, too. And then I was looking at, who was he supposed to be with? Camp? Yeah, so this is what I did this morning, and he's just all over the place. So some with Kane, Hayden, and Cahoon the whole time, basically, but this is where you go to, what, Strome. So yeah. It seemed like it was a pretty quick transition. They dropped the DeBrincat, I don't even know, Perlini, do they have going with him? Yeah. So this is a way better constructed line. They're going to be awful defensively, I think, with Kane and DeBrincat, and then Strome. So if we knew kind of what they were going to do with line matching, that would be more helpful, but I don't have a great read on that. Why is there... Oh, there's an ad popping up. All right, housekeeping stuff. Okay, so we've got the 24 days of giveaway. The way you get entered in the daily giveaway, it's a random drawing for a free month of the sport of your choosing to Osmo.com Premium. So that could be NHL, NFL, NBA. If you want to do NHL, you can try out my projections. Also have promo code Hit the Ice, but that's off to the side for just now. You can still use it, but to enter in this contest, you're going to want to like the video, and then today for the comment, we're going to do favorite contest on either site, or it could be, Yahoo if you play their fantasy draft. Let's do your favorite contest on favorite tournament, actually. Favorite tournament. You're gonna comment that after you like this video, and that gets you an easy way into the entry or into the drawing. We'll draw each day for the rest of the week, and then I think we get a new giveaway starting on Saturday with On the Contrary. So it's completely free. Just give yourself a chance, like the video, comment, and then with that comment and like, you can gain additional entries into the big drawing at the end, the All Access Pass, $700 value. We're going to give that to one very lucky winner. All Access meaning you get all the premium content on the site. So, and for an entire year. So that is it's pretty good stuff. $700 for just liking and commenting. So just give yourself a chance at that. I see some of the likes have gone up, so like to see that. Favorite is the hat trick. And you don't comment in the chat box right now. Comment once this video is done. So once we're done going live, gone through all the games, done everything, Fantasy Crunch or whatever we do, just go back to this video and put it in the actual comments underneath the video. So hope I'm making that clear enough at least. But it seems like many of you guys have been doing it, so glad to see that as well. All right. We've been going for 11 minutes, and I've just been rambling to myself, but let's say we get into the game, huh? Nolan's line matching article, or line matching, not line matching. Nolan's line change article is out. I'm going to pull this up on the screen. We're going to X out of, I'm not going to X out. We're going to go like that onto the other screen. There it is, right here. 24 days of giveaway. So good job by Nolan including that. Okay, so here's the news to start it off. We have Sean Couturier being upgraded to probable for tonight's game. He is supposed to center Voracek and Raffle. So Michael Raffle still kicking. We've got two viable lines on the Flyers. That's basically all that means to me. And then some changes on the power play. Couturier could take Simmons' spot on the top power play. Gostisbehere and Provorov are back together. That's probably just an upgrade for Provorov, I would say. I don't know that it's something that would make me change my projections or anything, but maybe a minutes boost for one of those two. And then, yeah, the Pens shuffled their lines. I saw this in a tweet yesterday at their morning skate. So Kessel back with Malkin and Pearson, and then Brassard with Gensel and Crosby. So revolving door on that top line with Gensel and Crosby. Giordano returns from the suspension from that hit on Koivu. Obviously that moves Hannafin down. By the way, Giordano just coming up in a ton of my lineups. He's going to be all over the place for me tonight. But not that that's some hot take or anything. Dallas 1 split up. Yep, good catch by Nolan. That happened about an hour and a half ago, so don't make your lineups without checking this article. Blackhawks, he mentions the lines there. Yeah, Dylan Strome probably going to center. Kane and DeBrincat, that's a pretty nice trio of offensive talent. Josh Hosang, really? Oh, okay. Komarov, game time decision. Controversial youngster. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Nolan. Good way to put it. All right, let me refresh this page. I don't know what's going on. All right, cool. Let's say we go through the games, huh? This will be pretty quick. Go to DraftKings pricing. All right, Vegas Golden Knights and the New York Islanders. We have Marc-Andre Fleury going up against Robin Lehner. 3.2 implied total for the Knights, 2.8 for the Isles. And the first thing that stuck out to me in this one was the pricing of really both Vegas lines, but especially that top line. They've had a little bit of success recently, and their price is not good. I shouldn't say not good. I'd like to see them price a little bit higher because I think this is going to get quite a bit of ownership on them. It's not that difficult to fit them in with some of the top lines, especially now that Dallas 1 is broken up. They're an awesome play. I'm not worried about any line matching going on here. If they go with the Filppula line against Carlson, Marchessault, Smith, enjoy, especially if Josh Hosang is on there. Not a great defensive player by any means. And then neither the Barzal or the Nelson line are worrisome. And maybe they see some time against the Nelson line, but that's really about it. Vegas 1 should be pretty chalky. The Islanders have done a better job of allowing less high danger chances this season, but they're still giving up a bunch of scoring chances, still giving up a ton of shot attempts. So the upside is certainly there for Vegas 1. Same goes with Vegas 2. You're just playing Cody Eakin. He's still 4,700, but this line as a trio just over 15K to stack. I'm assuming Osimo has them as a pretty good value on his rankings. Let's see. DK value. Vegas 2. Vegas 3. No, wait. Vegas 2. Oh, he's only got him as a C value. Oh, interesting. For 15 too. Okay. I wonder why that would be, because it's 3.2 implied total for Vegas. Anyway, maybe I should do some more digging on that. But I like both the top 2 lines for Vegas. I think everyone's probably going to have the most exposure to Vegas 1. And then on the Islanders side, the line I will be most exposed to is, of course, the Lee, Nelson, Eberle line. I just really like them. As a trio, they create a lot of high danger chances individually. They haven't been that great as a line, but the pricing, the power play time, and being at home, they get to dictate their matchup. Maybe they see a little bit more time against the Eakin, Pacioretty, Tuck line. Not really worried about anyone below Carlson, Marchessault, Smith. So as long as they're not in a hard match, I would be really interested in using them. And I don't think they're going to be in a hard match with Carlson, Marchessault, and Smith. So Islanders 1 is where I'm going. I think Islanders 2 will be popular. Beauvillier is still too cheap at 3,500, even though he's not getting power play time. But again, I do really lean towards the Islanders top line if I'm going to the Islanders at all. Nothing else from a depth line perspective here. Defensemen, we have the conundrum really on both sides. So you've got Colin Miller, who I like, but he's third pairing, and he's almost 4K. Not a crazy price at all for him. And he does have some upside, especially if the Islanders are committing some penalties. They don't have a great kill. I believe it's under 80% for the season. And Miller he's an okay value just because of that power play 1 exposure with Marchessault, Smith, Pacioretty, and Tuck. That's a pretty enviable spot to be for a defenseman. As far as Theodore and Schmidt, you can really take your pick between them. Stastny. I wonder if Stastny is going to play tonight. Did anybody hear about that? I saw something this morning, but I haven't seen anything since then. Let's do a quick search. Yeah, no way the Isles are dumb enough to put Hosang on a shutdown line. You wouldn't think so, right? But we've seen some real dumb stuff. I think trying to shut down anyone with Filppula is pretty stupid, but he skated, but still questionable. Okay, so does anybody know, did the beat writers say where he would slot in? Oh, this is going to be annoying. At least this is the early game, right? So not detrimental if we get a line change 30 minutes before. Because this is the only 7 Eastern game. Everything else starts 8 Eastern. Wow, really spread out. Okay. Yeah, doesn't seem to be any word on that. I would guess he would slot in with Pacioretty and Tuck. And that would be perfectly fine with me. He's not that different than Eakin as far as like a value perspective. Neither of them have great offensive upside. It's mostly assist equity, but when you're playing with Tuck and Pacioretty, you're in play regardless, especially against the Isles. So Schmidt and Theodore, really take your pick. Theodore is the better play, but he is $1,600 more expensive. And then on the Islanders side, Nick Leddy, $3,400, price forever in the 3K range, but doesn't really do a ton. I lean more towards both Boychuk and Pulak. Pulak would be the guy I want to get in, But again, similar to the Vegas side, you've got a $900 difference. So I'm more than okay with Boychuk at 3,900 here as a one-off or with either of the top two lines. He's doing line rushes on the third line. Oh, okay. Maybe they keep that Eakin Pacioretty Tuch line together. They've had some decent results. Goalies, it is a 4-game slate. You guys kind of know my take on goalie as of now. I'm going to limit them to about 20-25%. And let me check if either of these guys came up huge for me. Nope. Yeah, nothing. Let's see. Man, I didn't get either of these goalies. Is that right? In my first crunch of the day? Let's see. Gibson. Wow. That's a lie. I got Fleury at a decent percentage. 16% Fleury. So he'll probably be decently owned, just a good shot at the win. And I do like Vegas 1, and you can fit Vegas 1 with Fleury very easily if you want to correlate. So I was just looking right past that. I thought I saw somewhere that they were going to hold him out, but I'll tweet if I find out anything else. Awesome. Thanks, Nolan. Leonard, I'm not all that interested in, but he is an Isles goalie, so I'm sure. He does have theoretical upside. I just don't think he's very good, and he's probably going to be popular because he's $7,400 and at home. I'd rather go elsewhere. When does the show start? 4 Eastern. 4 Eastern every day. And it won't just be me blabbering to you most days. It's just on Wednesday that I'm blabbering alone because it's usually a short slate. And we want to give Nolan and Homer Cleese a couple shows a week because they have very good analysis. All right, next game. The Penguins. I think that's a joke, Manny, because that sounds like an NBA question. So Penguins and Blackhawks, 3.4 implied total for Pittsburgh, 2.7 for the Blackhawks. Pittsburgh line changes: Brassard on the top line, Kessel down to line 2 with Malkin and Pearson. We've seen this line before. Solid offensively, not going to be great defensively. Never is with Malkin and Kessel together. Curious what you think of Frederik Andersen being 40% owned for $8K yesterday, with Mrazek being 2% owned at $6,900. Line was almost PK for that. What tournament was that? Oh, Pick'em. Yes, he does, Tyler. Homer Cleese does have MMA content. We have an MMA Slack chat, and he does an article every time there's some big fights. So you definitely want to try to get in premium Slack. You can use promo code HitTheIce. That's on the screen. Otherwise, get your Osmo.com membership, and you can be in Slack all the time. Mid to high stakes, it's more like 25% to 2. Wow, I didn't think Anderson would be 25. I didn't see that. Huh. I mean, I in general, if there's a 25% owned goalie and a 2% owned goalie, I want, like in one lineup, I probably want the 2% owned goalie if I think they're even remotely close. And I didn't think they were that far apart when you take into account price. Anderson, obviously a much better goalie, but I don't know. People like playing Freddie Anderson, and he's very good, and he sees a lot of shots. So, makes sense. All right, yeah. Definitely want to check out that premium Slack, Tyler. Cool. So this game, we've got it's a 4-game slate, and the Penguins are on the slate. Therefore, the Penguins are going to be heavily owned. You've got 2 lines that are in play. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go with ownership. Looking at these lines, they look like they're about in the same price range. I haven't looked since they got updated, but I can do that right now, actually. Let's see. Yeah, so they're, oh no. Oh, okay. They're $500 apart. All right, I could have done that mental math on screen, but wanted to spare you guys. So there's no bad matchup against the Hawks. If the Penguins were at home here, they would be mega chalk, especially with these new lines. I'm going to have exposure to both of these Pittsburgh lines. I don't think it really matters what the Blackhawks do with the hard matching. If they decide to at all, I would guess it's probably Taves against Crosby, but that really doesn't matter at all for the Penguins. They're just a better team. They've got two better lines than the Blackhawks even have one. If I had to go to a Blackhawks line, it would be Strome, DeBrincat, and Kane. I think they're probably going to see a softer matchup against the Pittsburgh depth and the Malkin line. So pretty clear on Chicago for me who I want for full stacks. I actually do like the Chicago 2 line too. Like I don't just think they're a throwaway play. I do want to have some Chicago exposure because I think everyone's going to be all over the Pens here, and I understand why, but feel like I just always want to be on the opposite side of the Pens because people are either super cold on them, they don't want to play them, it seems like, or they're just mega chalk, and they're always like 10% chalkier than I think they should be. Favorite power play line tonight? I mean, it would probably be the Pittsburgh power play. Like if you're doing just the power play, can you even fit this? I don't think you can. Not on DK. I mean, you really, really have to punt. Yeah, I don't think you can full power play stack it, but Pittsburgh, I think, has the best power play matchup, if I'm remembering correctly. They're just, I mean, that top power play is absolutely stacked. Brian Elliott, what's up? Flyers goaltender. Anyways. Other stuff in this game that's interesting is not really much. Taves, Saad, Pierlini, like, I like the idea of that line, but I think they're going to come up in optimizers. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what Osimo and Testosterone and Tom will do. I think that line's going to pop for people for value because you've got super cheap Taves and Saad prices, and then Pierlini's actually a decent player for 2,800 when he's got line mates around him. And even though no power play time, that line's going to come up for people. So I think that could be sneaky high owned, especially in a game stack. It's an over 6 total here. Chicago looked good on the second half. In the second half of last night, wouldn't be surprised at all to see the refs give them some love being at home and losing 109 games in a row and then pull it out. That's interesting. I don't know how to quantify that, but yeah, I could see Chicago pulling this game out. Cam Ward started yesterday, and they gave up 6 goals, but it's not like they got completely crushed. Just doing some DFS while I rehab. I hope that's true. I hope you are the actual Brian Elliott. That would be pretty cool. I think Crawford is a very strong play if you're not playing the Pens, and not because of goalie leverage. Or not because of goalie leverage. I think you play Crawford because he's projected to see the most shots. I would, at least that's what I have. He is a good goalie. He's had some big games, even in losses. So you talk about a floor play. As long as he doesn't, if he can avoid an early exit, and it's going to be tough here if Chicago is not on their game right away and it is a back-to-back. So I don't know how this game goes, but if Crawford can avoid an early exit, he's seeing 35, 40 shots here. And looking at the power play, I believe Chicago's done an okay job at limiting their penalties, which is important. Let's see. They're about middle of the pack this season. Their penalty kill sucks. So, let's see. At home, yeah, they've done even a better job at home of limiting the power play opportunities for the other team. So if they can stay out of the penalty box, Crawford could have a huge game. I don't think it's that big of a mismatch. Pittsburgh's defense is nothing special at all. So I think it makes sense if you are multi-entering to get some Chicago exposure, and I really, really want that Strome, DeBrincat, and Kane line. Defenseman, we've got really one on the Penguins that I'm interested in, and that is Chris Letang, super expensive. I think he's overpriced. That being said, I will force in some exposure to him because it is a very good power play spot. That's really all I want to talk about on Pittsburgh side. The Blackhawks, you've got Seabrook at 5K. He's not any good real life, but he does block shots. It is a good blocked shot spot for Seabrook, and he's probably going to play a decent amount of minutes. Steve talked about yesterday how bad that Seabrook-Manning pairing is. So it's not going to be pretty, but Seabrook does have a pretty decent floor for 5K. And then Yoki, I guess, would be the flyer that I would take on a Blackhawks defenseman for 3,800. Talked about Crawford. DeSmith at 8,100 I think is overpriced, but again, I'm probably going to have some exposure. I just think Crawford is huge upside. DeSmith is probably a better floor play. Maybe, now that I think of it, maybe Crawford would be even the better floor play. He's got to get through the first period without giving up 3 goals, but assuming he does that, I think he's just going to see so many shots, and he's the kind of guy where if he gets in a rhythm, he could have 40 saves, and even if in a loss, in like a 3-2 loss, I think he could still get you 5 or 6 DK points pretty easily. Next game, Flyers. Which goalie scores more in a 4-3 Pens win? Yeah, I really think it could be Crawford. 4-3, let's see. So that's already at -2. He would need like 40 saves. No, 44 shots. I don't see 44. Let's say they get 40 shots total, 36, 7-2. Then it'd still be tough. 4-3 Pens win. That would probably be DeSmith because that wind just swings so much, but it would be close for sure. It's an interesting question. Flyers and the Calgary Flames. We have a 2.9 implied total for the Flyers, 3.6 for the Flames. Sean Couturier back, big boost for the for the Flyers. I keep getting these two teams mixed up. No Michael Backlund for the Flames. That is very bad. Mark Giordano back. That is very good for them. But no Backlund hurts a lot. And I don't know if they're going to hard match with Bennett and Tkachuk and Derek Ryan. But I'm not really worried about that line without Michael Backlund. So I would think they're going to go against Giroux, Van Riemsdyk, and Konechny. That's just my read here, but I really do like the Flyers. I like both the top 2 lines a lot, and I'm probably going to be over the field on both of them. Raffle is not good, but he is 2,600, and very underrated team. I'm not sure anyone saw them destroy Buffalo on Saturday either. Yeah, weren't they down like 2-0? I don't know. They smoked them. Are the Flyers going to be sneaky chalk? Or, I don't know. I'm trying to get a feel for this slate. And when I ran the Fantasy Cruncher projections this morning on like the first go around, well, I guess I can do it again. Let's use FC's projections. Let's see what we're getting with FC's projections. Just running some 4-3 or 3-3 stacks. A lot of Flames, geez. Okay. Yeah, tons of Flames. Okay. So maybe Philadelphia is not going to be as chalky as I may have thought. I do like Philadelphia a ton, though. So I just want to reiterate that. Van Riemsdyk for 3,800 is kind of a weird price. I know he hasn't been great, but power play 1 and no Backlund is huge. I can't overstate how important that is. On the Flame side, it's really the top line or bust for me. They are super expensive. I think the most expensive line now that we have these line changes in Pittsburgh and Dallas, and I don't think it's really that close. Yeah, it's not. 21.9 for this line. It's a good spot. It's a good power play spot. Giordano back is huge. Maybe a little bit overpriced, but really, really awesome spot, and it's not that difficult to fit them in. So nothing bad to say about the Flames. Really interested to see their ownership tonight. This is one of those spots where I wish we had ownership projections, because I think I'm going to be pretty comfortably underweight here. Not comfortably, but I think I'm going to be underweight a decent amount. I do like some of these other lines, Dallas specifically. So that's probably where I'm planting my flag tonight. We'll have some Calgary 1. The second line is very cheap as well, and it's cheap exposure to Kachuk, which I like. But I think rather than going to the second line, I'd rather just do a Calgary power play stack with like 4 out of those 5 guys and include Giordano. Giordano is going to be in over half of my lineups tonight, I think. And whether it's 50 or 100 or whatever I'm doing, I haven't entered yet. But you're going to see Giordano all over the place on my lineups. He's just grading out as by far the best defenseman. Like I mentioned, good power play spot. The Flames have been awesome at home. And it's just, you're not really worried about either of the two Philadelphia lines, and maybe they even get matched up against the Patrick Simmons-Lawton line. Who knows? But nothing really to worry about with Calgary 1 here, outside of possibly being chalk. Big Love, Big James. Big James? What? I can see Philadelphia 1 chalky on FanDuel because they're all wingers, and Brassard, Crosby are centers. Could be. Flames aren't as scary at home with no Backlund. Defensively, I agree. Yeah. And I mean, Backlund's a fine offensive player too, so it's definitely a downgrade for that second line. Throwing in Derek Ryan. How's Philadelphia power play? You should know, Brian Elliott. You played for the Flyers, right? Philadelphia power play. They are, let's see. Oh, they're only at 13.6 for the season. That being said, this, I don't know. I mean, don't the Flames commit a ton of penalties? I know they did last year. I'm trying to remember where they're at for this season. Calgary, they're top 10. Yeah, so they're over 3 per game, time shorthanded. You're not really playing Philadelphia for the power play spot. You know, there's not a ton of correlation there. There's Couturier, Voracek. They're kind of split up at even strength. And Gostisbehere hasn't been all that great. So it's mostly just because they're underpriced, and I think no Backlund hurts Calgary a ton on home ice. Okay, so defenseman here. Provorov, Gostisbehere skating together. Really like that. For both of them, I think you can go with either of those two with either of the top 2 lines. And then Giordano all over the place on Calgary's side will be my highest owned player tonight. It is basically a lock at this point. And if for some reason he's not, I'll let you know in the chat. But yeah, Giordano, even for 6,200, just fits very, very well. Was thinking of Philadelphia 1 plus Couturier line. Comeback narrative. Sure. Stolars, 6,700. Not a very enviable spot for him. I'd rather go elsewhere if I can. There are 7 other goalies. And then with Smith, just an overprice. I know he's been hot lately. I think this is a spot where people will jump on him. And there's just no way. Like, he's not going to be one of my highest exposed goalies. Let's see. He's won 6 straight starts. Good for him. Good for him for turning it around. He was brutal. 7.5 for Monahan. Yeah, Smith at 8,300. Not going to get there all that often. I know he's a big home favorite, but I think this is a sneaky good spot for Philadelphia, like I said. Who do you all like for goalie? I would agree, Matt. At that $6,700 price, it's good outcome if he gets a win regardless of how many goals he gives up. Yeah, you're probably fine with him at $6,700 if the Flyers can pull out a win, which I don't think is all that unlikely. So he's the one that I'll probably have more exposure to for this game. And I just ran 100 lineups on Fantasy Cruncher, and Stolarz didn't come up in any of them. So he's going to be maybe the lowest owned goalie of the night. Highest total for Calgary on the night, I believe. All right, let's go to the next game. Last one of the night. We've got the Stars and the Ducks. Lowest total game on the board. 2.7 implied total for the Stars, 2.8 for the Ducks. Stars have been playing at a snail's pace for the last month or so, and they have switched up their lines once again. They keep teasing us with Dallas 1 being back together. Now it's not. Apparently, I think you are still fine playing Seguin, Benn, and Radulov together. Faxa on the top power play. I'm just seeing that now. I don't know if that's going to stick. Jamie Benn being on the second power play would be ludicrous. But Seguin and Radulov actually come up as the best plays by far over Benn for me. They just create better chances. Seguin's shooting at like a career low level right now as far as percentage goes, but he's creating a million high danger chances. Seems like every time I refresh Twitter on a Stars night, it is Seguin hitting the post, hitting the crossbar, whatever it is. Like, he's getting really unlucky. The chances are there. The goal streak is going to come. May not be tonight, but he's a guy I want to continue to be on. And Nichushkin, offensive talent, he is dead minimum on DK. So this line together is, let's see, 14, 13, 9. What is that? 15, 9, then 16, 4 together. Is that right? 16, 4. That's outrageous for Seguin, Radulov. They could be skating next to me, and I'd probably play this line still. So I love Dallas 1. Absolutely love them. I like him obviously less with Ben not on that line, but like Nichushkin, I'm going to include him in my Dallas 1 stacks. So not a reason to avoid Dallas 1, the full stack. So Dallas 1's going to be where I'm going to have a ton of exposure. Calgary 1 is a must play. No other good lines on team, plus Flyers give up a lot of goals. It's hockey. I mean, yeah, Calgary 1 I think has the best chance to be the top scoring line. But how often does that actually translate to being the top scoring line on a night-to-night basis? So I really like this Dallas 1 line. Dallas 2, I get the merit. And, Hansel and Spezza are just not great offensively. Ben obviously helps that line. If it is full power play correlation, that helps as well. They're cheap. I understand it, but this is going to be a popular filler, I think, with like a Calgary 2 or a Calgary 1. I think you can do that. Let's see. Monahan. Yeah, like you can do that pretty easy. A couple of 4K defensemen in that range. So that's why I don't like it as much as maybe if this were a bigger slate. It just fits too perfectly with Calgary 1, and I'm trying to get away from a lot of Calgary 1 stuff. Osmo gives you an A value, B points grade, Jake. Is that what he said? B points grade? That's it? Man, I can't even get that A points grade. On the Ducks side, Getzlaf with Kasha and Aberg, I think, is a really interesting line. It's the one I have the most interest in. I love Kasha, and his price and Aberg's price being up may get some people off of them. I think they're a line you can't fit with Calgary 1, if I remember correctly. Or it's really tough. Yeah, it's really tough. So that's also why I like them. I just think it's a super interesting line and one that I want to take a bunch of shots on in tournaments, especially because I'm MMEing. In one lineup, I wouldn't get to Anaheim 1 or even like 2 or 3, but I almost like the game stack here for a 5.5 total, which I hate doing, but gonna have a fair amount of mixing and matching here. Kessler kind of ruins Silfverberg for me. I think Silfverberg is a great value on his own. B value, B points grade for Osimo. Power play 1 exposure, and Silfverberg just should be more than 4,300. How much worse defensively is Dallas 1 without Ben? Probably a little bit worse. They still weren't putting up great defensive numbers. Like, they were trading chances. And Kessler's probably going to see that line. So that's probably an upgrade for them. I think I'd rather just stick with Silfverberg for the most part. Probably going to end up with a few Anaheim 2 filler stacks when I go with an expensive like Pittsburgh 1. I don't think that's a bad idea. And then same thing with Anaheim 3. Henrique, Ritchie, and Sprong, just kind of the unknown. We don't have a lot of data on these lines, so it's hard to tell how great they'll be offensively or defensively. But Dallas's depth is nothing special. So, and same thing with Anaheim's on the defensive end, or at least it's not expected to be. So just to kind of clear everything up, really like the top line for Dallas. I want to take a bunch of shots on the top line for the Ducks. Hansel thoughts? I mean, if you're playing him with Ben, that's fine. If you're playing him alone, I would go elsewhere, even for 3K. I don't think he's great offensively. And then I'm going to have some sprinkles of Anaheim 2 and 3 here because it is a short slate and I am multi-entering. I really prefer Lindholm for 5,500 on the Ducks side, but Montour is on the top power play with Getzlaf and Silfverberg, so there's merit in playing him as well. Top defense from Anaheim. Yeah, it's the top 2 right here. These are far and away the top 2, and that's how I would have them ranked. So Lindholm first, Montour second, and then you've got some punt options. I'd rather go with Manson, but again, he's $700-800 more expensive than these other guys. You probably want to go with Larson after that. I know he's playing a decent amount of minutes playing with Manson, so that is perfectly fine. Dallas's side, these defensemen are really tough to figure out, whether it's Heiskanen or Bayrither or Lindell. All can do things, and they're all priced around each other, and it's just a revolving door on the top power play for Dallas. So I wish I had a strong lean. I guess I have to give the lean to Bayrither because he's listed on the top power play, but it's going to be all mixed around for me, even with my Dallas 1 lineups. So I want to have some Heiskanen with them, some Lindell, and then obviously you got to, on the off chance that Bayrither plays the whole time on the top power play, certainly want to give him a go with my Dallas 1 Seguin Radulov lineups. Heiskanen has been pretty decent for sure. I think better than decent from a DFS perspective. Wish Henrique was centering Silfverberg, but still top PP. Yeah, I wish they would have kept Henrique and Silfverberg together, but whatever. Kessler, I don't think Kessler is a good shutdown center. At least his numbers haven't been that way the last couple years. And I think Seguin, Radulov, and Nichushkin have a chance to dominate that line offensively. And I think Anaheim does commit a bunch of penalties. On the season, they are second in time shorthanded, just over 80% penalty kill. Another boost for the Stars. Wish we had some more clarity on this situation. Goalies here, I'm going to have both Gibson, the most talented goalie on the slate, 7,900, low total game. I would have to imagine he's chalky. I understand it. I'm probably going to be below the field because I'm limiting everyone to 20-25%, and he's probably not going to reach that cap anyways. And then Bishop for 7,700 makes for a good correlation play. Not a guy I'm going out of my way to target as a one-off, but I'm fine if he ends up that way or if he ends up with a Dallas 1 lineup. More excited for Kasha to be back with Getzlaf. Yeah, that's a good place to be for Kasha. Really good place to be. You'd like Raquel to be there, but I think so too because I have the Strome line. Seabrook or Ghost? If you have the Strome line, I would just correlate, with Seabrook. If you're playing 1 lineup, who's your goalie? If I was playing 1 lineup, man, that's a good question. Maybe Fleury? I don't know. Let's see. you can fit this really easily, and this is going to be, as they say, contrarian. A couple of road teams. You got a $4,400 defenseman. There you are. I don't know. It probably looks something like that. Yeah, it might be Fleury. This is the winning combo being built right here. Yeah, I actually did build that. I don't know. That was me and Steve built that. Literally the nut lineup, and we were just. It was like Arizona 2 with Boston 1 when Bergeron was in. Anaheim plays a lot of slow, sloppy games though. So does Dallas, but I like the even strength matchup for the Sagan line, and I dislike defensively that Dallas switched up their lines. If it's GPP, then got to be Crawford. No, it doesn't have to be Crawford. You still need the win. You don't need to get that crazy, like leave a bunch of salary. Like Crawford probably has the most slate wrecking upside tonight. If he can somehow pull out a 2-1 win or a 3-2 win and get 40 saves. But, you know, I don't know that he's going to be a must-have. He may end up being very well may be the best value on the night, but you don't have to hit the absolute nuts at every position. So it's more about correlation than anything. Over under 30 people are entering that lineup. I mean, I'm probably going to have a lineup that looks just like that. So let's see. What do I have so far? Maybe my projections like Gibson a little bit better, but it's a lot of my lineups are going to come down to the last game because I'm going to be over the field in exposure all over the place. I'm going to be over on Philadelphia, both lines likely, and under on Calgary 1. So I'm leaving myself some outs, as they say, with Calgary 1. I'm not playing 0 of them. Don't think that I'm fading them. I think I've come to learn that, you know, if you're playing a bunch of lineups, you should not play everyone, but kind of play everyone. Calgary 1 is likely the best spot, but I'm just taking a calculated risk going underweight, and hopefully I'm right. That gives me more exposure to other spots on the slate. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and move on to the next slate, but that's likely what I'll be doing tonight. Been playing NHL DFS for 3 years. For me, targeting teams with best 3 players on one line and little other line depth works the best most nights. Yeah, you could see a scenario tonight where Calgary scores like 3 goals, but 2 or 3 of them are from the top line because it's just very, very clearly the top line, like the best line for them. Who's your favorite non-Letang pit defenseman? Very specific. Well, let's see. Let me go to my projection, see who I've projected the highest. Pit defenseman? I have Dumoulin next. So that's likely due to the amount of minutes he plays with Letang. So gets a lot of run with the Crosby and Malkin lines. So it would be Dumoulin. All right, guys. Any last second questions? I would glad to talk about, or I'd be glad to talk about. We've got the 24 days of giveaway, so we're going to comment favorite contest on either site. Favorite contest, like the contest name, or you can put the dollar amount or whatever you want. So you'd be like $3 sniper on DraftKings or whatever. So comment. You have to like this video. You'll get entered in for a free month of Ospo.com premium to the sport of your choosing. Thank you for tuning in, making this much easier. We had a very active chat. You guys really bring it when I'm here by myself, so I appreciate that. Had some interesting discussions about ownership. Good luck tonight, guys. Hit me up in premium chat or Twitter if you want to ask me questions or run anything by me. I'd be glad to help you out. And good luck tonight. Steve and I back tomorrow. See you at the top of the leaderboards, hopefully.